Autumn, my favourite time of year. But just because it's colder, wetter, and a lot more windy at the top of our little hill, it doesn't mean the camping season needs to end. We put away our bell tents because we are attempting to preserve that crisp, clean look of the new canvas, but with newly levelled-ish clearings in the wood, the urge to continue camping was just too much. And so my mum, Jenny, or Morphus, as I like to call her, found for sale a vintage Scout patrol tent. Being second-hand, the canvas being green, and having no sewn-in ground sheet, we don't feel quite so precious when it comes to the inevitable autumn mud. Now, if you have ever pitched one of these, you'll notice that we are doing it all wrong. It's okay, we did get there in the end, and since filming this I have learnt how it really should be done. Soon it will be better pitched, and I'll show you inside with some interesting and different furniture choices you might like to see.
What do you think of it?
Well, it's going to be lovely, isn't it?
It will be lovely. It will be lovely. Wow. So, it's not quite finished yet. We are learning how to put it up. It didn't come with any instructions or anything like that, so she's at home already. We are going to just work on it, make it a little bit better, peg it out a little bit better. One of the issues I'm having is the ground is a little bit too soft. Eventually I think we're going to put some proper stakes in, some permanent stakes, so we can just loop the guys over. But we're not really sure whether we're doing that for this tent or for the bell tent, or going to try and do it for both, so that we can have either tent here. But it's been a dream to have a walled tent, so that's amazing. It gives you a lot more possibilities furniture wise than the bell tents do, as much as they are beautiful. Having that round space and those very low walls can be quite restrictive. So we're going to try this as a solution for autumn and see how it goes. We're going to try out some layouts and furniture and things like that in here. But for now, we've just got to pitch it that little bit better. And once I've done that, I'll do some recording and show you it fully, properly pitched.
Because although she was small, she was 10 years old and could help Mary do all the housework. So Ma and Laura went out to work in the garden. People were coming from the east now to settle all over.
wee little bit.
So here we are in the tent with some furniture in here today. We have had the tent up a few days already, and we have, I think this is our third time coming back to it. We've got some bits and bobs in here, but it's not finished by any means. We've got lots more we want to bring, obviously in true glamping style, which is pretty much our camping roots, isn't it?
Oh yes, too old to do roughing it.
Yep.
Yeah. Got to have my comforts.
Yeah. So, what is it we want to start with? I guess the story of you finding the tent, because you found and purchased the tent.
Yeah. Well, I've always coveted the prospector tents, but of course they're quite expensive, and as I already have a bell tent, couldn't justify getting one, but prospector tents are beautiful, so I favour wall tents over bell tents, and as it's usually just me on my own, I thought, well, we'll go for it. And then you was looking for your
Arctic bell.
Yep. For the winter, to put up during the winter months.
Yeah, I think what happened was we took the bell tents down after only having them up for a week or so, because we'd only just got the ground levelled. My nervous little dog. And it was just so sad, because we'd only just fulfilled that dream of having the tents in the woodland, and then the weather turned, didn't it, for the bell tents. And the type of canvas they are, they're not as thick as this, the modern bell tents, and they are cream, and they're a large investment, so my concern was that it was all going to mould over winter. And I know people use them in the winter, but it was a decision that I didn't want to do that. So
in just that week that I had mine standing here, the leaves were coming down and they were gathering on the edges.
Yeah.
And when I removed those, you could already see a couple of black spots appearing where it was holding the damp. So it was time to take them down. Yeah. We don't want them ruined.
We are a bit precious over our tents, and I think we wanted tents that were coloured, so we didn't have to be quite so precious. That's why we're very green, because it's very green in here. But it's quite light, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Anyway, that's
why we wanted the tent.
Yeah.
Really.
So basically, I had done my usual, looking for suitable bits and pieces, and went on Marketplace.
Yep.
And I saw this one, and I ummed and ahed for quite some time about getting it, and then you mentioned you couldn't get your Arctic bell.
I couldn't. I couldn't. And it was just the shock at how much it actually was for a second-hand tent.
Yeah.
They're ex-military, and they're second-hand, and it's as much as a new bell tent. It didn't seem to make a lot of sense, but want it. But the shock of the price.
When I discovered that, I went back on and I had another look, and I quickly sent a message to Mikhail,
which was the lady who had it
advertised, and asked if she would take a little bit of a reduction so I could justify, getting it and passing it on to you for use.
Yeah.
And thinking that when you'd finished with it and you could eventually get yours, I could steal it back and.
I think it's just for general woodland use.
Yes, exactly.
Because we both come here separately.
As well as together, don't we? So it's quite nice. Yeah. And I like to come down and sit and do my knitting and various other crafts and just have a bit of peace and quiet. That kettle's going to boil. I'm going to have to see to it.
Yep, you do that now. Got my own teas made. Oh yeah. Okay.
Where did we get to? Oh yes. Yep. So I contacted Mikhail and she agreed to my price, which was absolutely wonderful. And I snuck off down to Canterbury, and it was then that I found out the story of the tent. Yes, which is a little bit sad, but at the same time it's lovely in a way that the tent's now being reused again and what's it, but the tent originally belonged to a man called Robert MacDonald, and he was a military man and he loved to go camping.
Yeah.
And I believe the last time it was used, Mikkel told me that she had reached an age where laying down roughing it was a little bit more difficult, like it is for me. And as a result, Robert carried a double mattress through the woods and put it in the tent.
That's
and
amazing.
It was those pictures that I first saw of this tent.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yeah.
It looks so good, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll make it look as nice as that at some point.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Lovely condition. So Robert was a lovely man, very avid camper. I think we've got a couple of photos that
we have,
very
we'll
kindly
put some
provided
in.
of Robert. But unfortunately, the last time this tent was used was about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because Robert developed cancer, and I believe it was only 7 weeks before Mikkel lost Robert. And she showed me some lovely, wonderful photos of him camping, and he clearly was a true camper.
Yeah, he looked like a real woodsman.
Yeah, One of the lovely things was when we unpacked the tent, Robert packed it away, it was beautifully folded, and you know, everything was, all the ties were tied up quite nicely, and he
definitely knew his knots, that's for sure.
Yes.
I didn't know how to undo some of them. I thought, gosh, you know,
Yes.
he'd have taught me a few things, that's for sure. He was ex-military.
Yes,
I don't know if we've said that already, but he's ex-military and obviously knew his stuff.
Yes. Yeah, but it does go to show that it doesn't have to cost a fortune.
It doesn't have to cost a fortune. You can do these things on a budget.
Yeah.
And build your equipment up slowly over time. I mean, we have an old meat safe.
Yeah.
That you've had for many, many,
I have
many
had
years.
it in my. I purchased it many years ago from an auction.
Yeah.
And I only paid a few pounds for it, and I put it in the garden shed, and it stored insecticides and plant bits and pieces and pond bits and pieces. Yeah, just the usual shed stuff.
Yeah.
And decided once we got this that it would be a great bliss, because of course you want to avoid mice and rodents and things like that.
I've seen
getting
mice
in
here.
certain bits and pieces. So I got it out and painted it up.
Yeah.
Give it a nice coat of wax, and done a small repair on the mesh, because there's a little split in one side in the mesh. So I did a repair on that, and it works perfectly.
Yeah.
It's going to do a wonderful job.
Yeah, we now have rodent-proof storage.
Yes, we have something we don't have to be precious about or worry. It's completely metal too, so there's no way no one's chewing their way through that. The mesh is metal, all the legs and everything, so it's nice and sturdy and strong. And I think it's bits and pieces like that. And this old bed, this old Victorian
Victorian
bedstead.
bed. And it's sprung.
Yeah.
Who has an off-the-ground sprung bed in the woods?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
It's not mine,
again,
it's my mum's.
it's something that I've
sadly.
kept in the shed for many, many years, and it's been in your shed.
It was in my shed. Yeah, I should never have given it back. It's my bed.
Also, on Facebook Marketplace again, spotted some barrels.
Yes.
Yes, which have turned out to be a godsend under here. Again,
One of the airtight
nice.
type.
It's got a metal clip
metal.
that clips around it and seals it solid.
Yeah.
So that's not going to a 60-litre one.
Yeah.
And got that that I can put cushions and throws and things like that. Just some bits and pieces for in here to leave here. The old rug I've put on the floor is a very old one that was picked up at the side of a road by number 2 daughter, little daughter.
Yep, my sister Emily, which you've seen in previous videos.
And she found it, and she knows what I'm like, so it was a bit wet and smelly. We laid it out in the garden, and it had several shampoos with a yard broom and a good
the
clean
thing
off.
is, if it's free, it's not
free.
a worry.
It
if
hasn't
you ruin
cost
it,
anything. So it's a matter of if it does the winter, then maybe I'll find another one.
Yeah. More fly tip finds.
Yes, but it's getting used. It's been put to use.
Yeah,
so
that's the kind of way we gather things up. Really, some of the stuff is purchased. and the rest is kind of hobbled together.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to cost a fortune.
It doesn't have to cost a fortune. No. Yeah.
And you can be comfortable. Yeah. Camping doesn't have to be laying on a cold floor.
Nope.
Lissi educated me to the benefits of making a proper camp bed.
Yes. Yeah, which I found out through trial and error, because I used to go in my 20s and camp just with a sleeping bag on bales of straw with no tents, and I really did go through the roughing it before I learned really actually how do I like to camp, and how do I keep warm with the small backpacking tents, how do I keep warm with the glamping, and I have different systems for different types of camping, and I love them all, and I'm never cold on any of them. So it's about the right equipment, and the right clothing is really important too, like the merino wool is massively important. And I never get cold camping anymore, even sitting outside around the fire. I never have a cold back. I've always got extra layers and everything like that. But even backpacking where you've got minimal gear, I mean, I'm sure if I did it full on winter style, I might struggle then, but spring, summer, autumn, not an issue.
But that's all very well for you, but when you've got little pets that are very precious, and
she's very precious,
quite a princess, she doesn't want to sit outside in the cold, does she? And neither does little Beth. When it's raining.
No, children make it, and pets in their own way make it a whole new ball game, and that is one thing I'm struggling with. I'm not struggling with so much now, but I have done is the transition from being a single camper and then a single camper with a young son as a single parent. That was easy, but then becoming a big family all of a sudden with pets. When you mix pets, another adult, and several children, like, well, two, I have two, and that, I always admire horrible when we watch Bushwhacker Man and his dog, and it's, you know, it just lays anywhere in the snow and so on. What a wonderful animal. But this one, nightmare. She's you'd think a dog would be in that element in the woods, and this one's really not. So
no, if there was ever such a thing as a house dog.
This is a house dog.
It's fine.
It's my precious, precious princess.
I know.
Right.
I know.
So, yes. Nice. Well, thank you, Mikhail and Robert, for the tent.
Yes.
And it will be very much looked after and very much loved. And you will see lots more of it as we progress with this glamping adventure, camping, glamping, woodland adventure. And there's lots more to come. Obviously the bushcraft structure is progressing, so I'm learning lots through that. That will be next week's video. Working on the roof for that, and I guess there's lots more.
Until next summer barbecues.
Proper camping. I'm possibly going to be camping here next week in the autumn school holidays, but we'll see how life pans out for that. But that's my plan as it stands, so you may well get some camping videos coming soon. And if you really want to see all that, please hit subscribe. That would really help me. But even more importantly than
that's one of the downfalls. I like this on the tent.
No one looks glamorous camping.
And your hair all sticks up.
It's not Instagram. It's real life. Right. So, what was I saying?
I can't remember.
Oh yes.
I've interrupted.
Like button. Press that. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you gave me you're wrong. What do you want to know?
I don't know. I'm nervous now.
Don't get nervous.
I prefer filming the B-roll, not the talking. Hello. Hello. Yeah, don't lick me.
2 coffees and a tea.
Don't lick me. Right, so you'll need to speak up a bit because I can never hear you.
Sorry.
Yay! Shout, and then they can hear you.
No,
Okay?
don't do shouting.
We're a metre away from the mic. Hello.
Anybody have?
Turning red. It's okay. We've got to keep
Okay.
it in the middle range.
Right.
The audio.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, about this loud should do it just fine. No.
All right.
Yes?
I'll
Maybe.
try.
Okay. Say hello.
Hello.
That was fine.
No bin.
Oh no. That was an oversight. No rubbish bin.
Yes.
Close the valve. No, don't close it when we're sitting on it.
It wasn't me. You did that on purpose.
Well, it was funny, wasn't it?